Check 1 2, check 1 2. Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Good morning, everyone. We have a quorum of Planning Committee in the room, so I'll call the committee to order and welcome everyone to the 80th meeting of the Planning Committee for this term of council. We have met 80 times. It's just incredible. If there's a member of the public who wishes to speak to any of the items that are on today's agenda, if you would fill in a request to speak form that's located to the table under the big Ottawa sign and give it to the committee assistant who is standing there in the black. We'll make sure you get on the agenda to speak to the committee. If you don't want to speak to the committee but you'd like to provide written comments, there is a comment sheet again at the door underneath the Ottawa sign, and you're able then to submit some written comments which will form part of the public record, which will preserve any appeal rights should you wish to appeal. So this is a public meeting to consider the proposed comprehensive zoning bylaw amendment listed as item 3 on today's agenda. For the item listed above, item 3, only those who make oral submissions today or written submissions before the amendments are adopted may appeal the matter to the Ontario Municipal Board. In addition, the applicant may appeal the matter to the Ontario Municipal Board if Council does not adopt an amendment within 120 days of receipt of the application for zoning. Now again, as I said earlier, a comment sheet is available at the door for anyone wishing to submit written comments in these amendments. So, members of committee, I've had no regrets. Any declarations of interest? None? Okay. Confirmation of minutes. Minutes 79, Tuesday the 21st of August, 2014. Is that item carried? Okay. We're going to go through a consent agreement, a consent agenda. Front-ending agreement and funding for Monaghan Landing Crown Ridge Park. There was no one in the audience who was registered to speak to the committee with respect to this item. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to the committee with respect to the front-ending agreement for Monaghan Landing and Crown Ridge Park? Not to this one. Members of committee, is this item carried? Carried. Okay. Item number 2 is the front-ending agreement for the South Nepean Collector Sanitary Trunk Sewer Extension Phase 2. We have one person registered to speak in opposition, but Mr. Riddell, if we defer this to the next meeting, you're satisfied with that? Yes. Okay. So why don't we, and that meeting is on the? 23rd. 23rd. So we'll have that on the 23rd of September, and we can resolve any misunderstandings with that one. So, members of the committee, so if we're prepared to move this to the 23rd, you're happy with that? You don't need to speak to us? Perfect. Members of committee, is this item deferred to the 23rd meeting? Carried. Okay. Item number 3 is the zoning bylaw amendment on Varley Drive. We have 3 people to speak, all in support of the item, zoning bylaw amendment 100 Varley Drive. Ms. Malash, you don't need to speak to the committee? Yes. Sorry. Do you need to speak to us if we're prepared? Okay. Okay. Ms. Myhill, do you need to speak to the committee? Yes. Okay. You're in support of the application? And then why do you need to speak to us if we're prepared to carry the application?
I would like to speak to offer some feedback from the community on how we can continue to move forward.
On this application?
On rezoning applications in general.
Well, that's not really the focus of this, but you have a right to speak, so we'll allow you to do that. But I'll tell you, it's not really the genesis of this application. It's probably not appropriate, but this committee has been lenient, and we're here, so we'll hear you. So, okay. Now, Mr. Seeley, I'm assuming you want to speak to in the same vein? Don't try the patience of the committee with items that I'll let you speak, fair enough, but general rezonings and how we're doing things, probably not the appropriate venue to do that. But however, and there will be lots of opportunities to do that when we do things like comprehensive zoning bylaws that come forward to implement the official plan. But if you want to do it now, we'll hear it, and I'm sure the committee will hear it again when that comes forward. So we'll hold that item and come back to it. Mr. Malash, I assume that you're going to want to speak to this, so we'll allow you an opportunity to come and do that. Item number 4 is the Riverside South Elevated Tank Class Environmental Assessment. I don't think we have anyone registered to speak to the committee with that, with respect to that item. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to the Riverside South Elevated Tank Class Environmental Assessment? Okay. Members of the committee, is that item carried? Carried. Okay. Okay. Ms. Mayo, if you'd like to come up. That's fine.
Good morning. I'm here again. My name is Beata Myhill. I'm the Vice President of KBCA. KBCA supports the application for rezoning of 100 Varley to permit the addition of a retirement residence if built as proposed. Our position is that the addition of a multi-purpose retirement residence in the heart of the community, integrated with the existing 8-story apartment building, will be an asset. It is an appropriate use of the property in question. This developer has followed what should be the gold standard with community development. Planners and developers, thank you for taking note. Taggart started with a reasonable idea, then actively sought input and feedback over a number of months. KBCA and key community members, including Mr. Bill Terron, Mr. John Malak, and Mr. Gary Seeley, were consulted at every stage, and the developer made substantial changes during the process. The result is a proposal that meets not only official plan standards, but is also in keeping with Beaverbrook's character. Our councillor, Mary Ann Wilkinson, was a key resource every step of the way. She facilitated the process by providing a comfortable, neutral meeting venue and offering advice on the bylaw realities when requested. This process is in stark contrast to other developers who have sought to press for the maximum height and density that they could grab by manipulating the general urban area compliance guidelines. Proposals get tabled that are totally foreign to local community character. KBCA urges the Planning Committee to make this example of cooperation the standard of how the process should work. We appreciate that you are trying to change the way you do business. We urge you to continue directing your staff to apply the official plan in a way that both developers and citizens know that growth will happen within clear, well-defined zoning rules. Ensure that both sides understand that these will be adhered to. If zoning is to be modified, then it has to be limited to minor variances in consultation with the community. With these essential elements in place, encourage developers to work with local citizens to come up with buildings that are an asset, not an eyesore. In conclusion, the proposed building is in keeping with the heritage and character of Beaverbrook. Significant efforts have been made to let nature be the architect and to respect nearby properties. We congratulate the Taggart Group and look forward to having this as the first step in a renewal of the heart of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Blois?
Yeah, thank you for your comments, and it's not every day that a community association comes in and sings the praises of the way a development has unfolded. Mr. Chair, is there an opportunity to take these comments, and I think you're referring...
part of the public, they'll form part of the public
but to make
record.
sure that staff takes them to heart and somehow incorporates whatever happened here as opposed to others?
Yeah, it's a funny thing, because this is actually a bit of a downzoning, right? Because they're proposing a 5-story building where the current zoning allows 30 meters or 10 stories. So we got to be careful about how we apply this, because if we were talking about a 10-story building, it might be a little bit different. So,
Mr. Chair, the existing zoning limits it to 85 units. It's a limitation of numbers of units on it. So, although the zoning in general,
I wasn't talking about units, Councillor. I was talking about height. So 10 units, 85 units and 10 stories, which is totally reasonable. Lots of developments like that is different than a 5-story seniors home. Quite different. So we have to be careful about how we apply it. But her comments will form part of the public record. Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Seeley, if you'd like to come up.
Mr. Chair, the Federation of Citizens Association links and supports community associations across the city. And as Vice President of the FCA, I'm asking you to note that we support KBCA in its position and will draw attention of our members to this encouraging development as a good case example. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Seeley? No. Thank you very much. Ms. Malash, do you want to come up? I don't know if they have a name.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of committee, and we'll just be extremely brief. I have Paul Taggart here with me from the Taggart Group, and we're obviously delighted to hear the residents' comments this morning. As you know, Beaverbrook Community Association has been around for a very long time and is actively involved in all of the applications that come forward to them, as is Councillor Wilkinson. And I think, as urban planning consultant, I've seen many of these processes, and this one worked extremely well. And I would say that goes in large measure thanks to Paul Taggart and the Taggart Group, because they were prepared to meet with the community many times. We met well over 6-7 times, I believe, to sit down and work through the issues. And with our architect, Sean Lawrence, there were many iterations of the proposed retirement residence. So we're delighted to be at this point with really that community support that you've heard about this morning. Paul, did you want to make any comments?
No, I'm just wasn't expecting all the. There we go. I wasn't expecting all of these great comments, and I'm very thankful for the Beaverbrook Community Association for doing that. I think the only thing I would say is they were, one thing that the Beaverbrook Community Association did, which I think really helped, is they hired a professional planner, Dennis Jacobs, and I think then they were. Dennis, I think, I presume, was good at explaining the realities of the planning process. And I think from just what I see, from time to time, some of the fights that communities get into with developers I presume that typically you don't see community associations using the services of a professional planner to help guide the, and that might be a model if you're thinking about how to make things work a little bit better. Perhaps that is a key ingredient of a model that community associations get outside expert advice.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions for Mr. Malash or Mr. Taggart? Councillor Harder?
I just wanted to know if this is going to be a private retirement home or is it affiliate? Yes? You first. Who's retiring around the table? Go west.
Well, yeah, I guess
if it's private. Yeah, if it's confidential, don't.
No. There's no confidentiality. It's a privately run business. It won't be a government.
No, but I wasn't saying it negatively. I just was wondering if we have a big one going up in Barhaven, Vista's putting up, and I was just wondering if it was affiliated with, you know.
I guess what she's asking, is this going to be a Taggart? Are you
You're not going to call it Taggart.
No, I think in our we don't know. Our ideal scenario would be to find a partner that understands the retirement home business, which we don't.
Okay,
and,
that answers my question. So there's nobody firm in place, and it could be one of the ones that I was thinking of.
Yeah,
which is great. Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Shirelli.
But Mr. Lawrence specializes in that kind of thing, right?
That's
Yes.
true. Yeah,
You know well.
Yes. And just my additional comment, once, I know in a couple of projects we were involved in my ward, once Ms. Malash arrived, things went much more smoothly.
No accolades all around today. Wow.
Thank you. This is a good morning for me.
No, it's not my last meeting, but I'm on the downward slope. Okay, well, thank you very much, both of you, for your presentation. Okay, that concludes the speakers for item number 3, zoning bylaw amendment 100. Okay, great. Man, we can't carry this item for our lives, can we?
No. But I just want to, Mr. Chair, I think it echoes what's happening there, but I want to thank the Taggart Group for, when they came to me with this a year or so ago, I said, before you do anything, please talk to the community. Because as you know, this is a third major development within one small community in this term of council. And it's been a really very difficult time for the community because of that, and because the community has very strong feelings about the character of their community. And for a developer to agree to do that and to really go overboard to make it work. And I know it was a little frustrating for them sometimes because it took some time. But in the end, we're going to have a rather unique one here because what they're doing is, in fact, is taking the existing apartment building, which is a small 8-story apartment building, an older one but large units in it, doesn't have amenities in it. And they're actually going to connect it to the retirement home so people in there will be able to get some of the services. So it's a little bit more of the retiring focus that you can gradually retire or get services without having to move. And in that building, there's somebody who's 101 years old in her own apartment with a best friend who's 97. And their children have told me that having this means that their mother can continue to have the independence that she wants while they're feeling that they're going to have that. So it's a model, I think, that the city might want to see happening more and more, is this integrated model of fully rental apartments, to retirement home, and some cross connections. And the way in which it was done was quite remarkable, considering all the stress they've had in that community in the past. And I might warn you, there's a fourth one maybe coming up sometime. It's not going to be nice, but this one worked.
Thank you very much. Okay, on the item then, is it carried? Carried. Okay. Are there any in-camera, there are no in-camera items. Are there any notices of motion? Any inquiries? Any other business? Okay. Our next meeting is Tuesday, the 23rd of September. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.